Hello everyone. I, Aditya Tiwari, with my friend and partner Raghvendra Bajpayee, would talk about the movie Pink and how it can be linked with the sections of the Indian Evidence Act. I would give the introduction of the movie and the arguments which were presented by both the sides during the trial, and my partner Raghvendra would link those arguments with the Indian Evidence Act and give the conclusion. Firstly, I'll begin with the background of the movie to give you all the idea about the storyline of this movie. The movie concerned is named Pink, which is a critically acclaimed movie by the director Aniruddha Roy Chaudhary, which is a story of three girls named Meenal, Falak, and Andrea who live in the city of Delhi, where a boy named Rajveer, who is a nephew of a powerful politician, molested those three girls in the club by inviting them over dinner, and in an attempt to escape, the girl Meenal hit Rajveer with a bottle which caused a cut above his eye and he had to be rushed to the hospital. Owing to his political connections, Rajveer filed a backdated case to get Meenal arrested. Her friends Falak and Andrea, with the help of lawyer Deepak Sehgal, try to set her friend free. Now, we'll look at the arguments which were presented by both the sides during the course of the trial. Rajveer's lawyer presented a case in such a manner which pointed towards the fact that the three guys invited the girls over for dinner after the rock show in good faith, and the girls, in an attempt to provoke the men, got drunk and tried to get intimate with them. When the boys refused, the three girls demanded money from those boys, and after every hope of retrieving money from the boys was diminished, Meenal took a bottle and hit Rajveer in an attempt to injure him and fled the scene. Rajveer's lawyer focused on the character of those women and the integrity of those women by his arguments. Now we'll look at the arguments which were presented by the lawyer Deepak Sehgal. His arguments were based on consent and how a no means no. And in a fascinating way of arguing, Rajveer got provoked to such an extent that he said in the court during the course of the trial that the girl got what they deserved. Now, we come to the part where we link the Indian Evidence Act with the movie. Some very gut wrenching questions were hurled at the accused. We can lay emphasis on Chapter 2 and 10 of the Indian Evidence Act, which would clear as we progress with the presentation. We'll see how the relevant sections of Chapter 2, like Section 6, which talks about the concept of res geste, is linked to the movie. Now, my partner Raghvendra would take over to talk about the relevant sections of the act with the movie and their linkage in detail and give the conclusion. Thank you.
So, as the above facts have rightly been substantiated by my partner, I would like to go forward with the idea of linking Evidence Act with the movie. Now, here comes a moment. Meenal, after gathering some of the other courage, goes on to file the complaint in the police station. And again, the ones who are accused in the present story, so they pick her up, they kidnap her, they assault her again in the car, taking her, or rather than compelling her to take the complaint back. Now, these have been some of the other moments that we see are a part of the same transaction. That happened, yes, quite at different places. As we go forward to the next section, which talks about Section 8, which rather is about motive. The motive in the movie was pretty much clear, malafide, on the part of the accused who committed the offenses. One such area was when the drinks which were being offered at regular intervals in order to get those girls drunk or to take advantage of them at the first place. Now, as we go to another slide, we pretty much say that the procedure of trial was a bit disappointing on the part of the court to allow certain things which shouldn't have been. We saw many other aspects being jumped upon in concern of the evidence law, such as Section 53A, which talks about the sexual experience that was being there in the past, which is not at all relevant in case of the victim, that whether she had any previous sexual experience or not. Even though this stringent section has been laid down, the girls were constantly in the movie asked about the same, whether they had any previous experiences, whether who was the boy, what was the name of the boy, and how exactly the things went in their past relationships or their past sexual experiences. So yeah, that was pretty much that about Section 53A, which links to the movie and which shouldn't have been a much part of the concern of the court as to whether these things have been asked or not. Then comes the part of CCTV footage, which is clear cut an example of Section 63A, which talks about the electronic evidence rather than discovered under the ambit of Section 63A, which in 65B tells us about the admissibility of the evidence that the court allows under Section 136, where the judge is there to decide that the evidence must be admitted and allowed, and same should be continued and followed in the court as well. To which the CCTV footage under Section 65B that tells us about the admissibility was admitted by the court in this scenario. When we jump on to the final parts of the trial, we see some previous sexual history, as we talked about earlier, that were being constantly talked about, alleging the victims to be prostitutes or someone who went inside the rooms to take advantage and extort money if they are not willing to give them the money, breaching again the ambit of Section 151 and 152. So in all, the trial which was being conducted, the priority, or rather the whole scenario, revolved around these kind of indecent and scandalous questions, which shouldn't have been the course of concern in the first place. These again have no connection whatsoever in proving the guilt of the victims, which in these cases were girls, that they were a part of prostitution, or whether they had a bad or a good previous sexual experience, intercourse experience. These things are irrelevant whatsoever, which again, the court, to much disappointment, allows in the present scenario. Now, as we come to the conclusion, the prosecutor, again, with his intriguing arguments and fiery questions that were being blazed towards the girls, fails again to establish the facts beyond any reasonable doubts. The story actually did try to portray the legal system with some fallacies, again, which we talked about, has a lot of example that has a clear link with the Evidence Act and as to how the proceedings do go in a rape trial, and as to how the proceedings should not be carried forward ethically and morally, even if being laid down or told by our law that it should not go in that way. Now, this movie again was on rape trials, victims being barged with filthy questions, character making, character assassination, horrific incidents, a lot of time, highlights again the problematic element, as we say, of giving little care to an victim who, even though after approaching the station for filing the FIR, is being told that it is going to be her character that is going to come into question, rather than these legal voids which are being there need to be removed, in our opinion. And that is what me and my friend here are and have been constantly talking about.